Welcome. Oh, hi. Christian's laughing because we have some fun trolls coming our way, skipping down the lane. Thank you.
And a cave troll.
Welcome to the Rendered Image, guys. Sunday, episode 39. My name is Tyler Babb.
My name is Christian Egler.
I am Shannon Nash.
Yes, and hi, and welcome to the Rendered Image, where we talk about movies and movie news. We got a packed episode today. Please hit that like button and hit the subscribe button for all of the movie news content, reviews, all that type of stuff. We do that on this channel, so welcome to the show. Welcome. You can comment in the chat. Let us know what you think of the topics as we go through them. It'd be greatly appreciated. Let's start out with the first thing on the docket is we are on Spotify. You can. We've been on Spotify. We've been on Spotify. We've been on Spotify for a while. I kind of slacked on uploading the episodes, so now, but I'm back into it. We had that month where we moved, so there was a lot going. There was a lot of shifting and changing and stuff. So, but we are back now. As you can see, our latest episode on there is the Spider-Man rewatch. Go follow us on. It's not just Spotify; it's all Apple Podcasts, whatever other podcast platforms.
Wherever you get your podcast.
Yeah, wherever you get your podcasts on, you can find us. Just type in the rendered image, and we will pop up. We're this nice purple icon. Yeah, and so then don't forget to check out the episode that we did last week, earlier this week, the Spider-Man rewatch, Spider-Man 2002. We have that episode on the channel now. You can watch us talk about our thoughts and our loves and dislikes, if we have any dislikes for that movie, which, I feel like we had a fair critique. What do you think, guys? I think we approached that pretty fairly.
There weren't that many dislikes. Yeah, we gave it a good knocking around.
Yes.
We praised it. We critiqued it.
Yes, I think we were pretty fair, and that's what we try. That's at least what I try to do, and I know you guys do the same. Let's see. Coming up later this week, we are going to be doing a Ghostbusters rewatch in celebration, obviously, for Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is going to come out at the end of the week. It's very exciting, isn't it, Shannon?
Oh, so very exciting. You guys have no idea. No idea. Oh my God.
So I actually just finished watching this today. I started last night and then got to the third act, and then I was like, man, I'm pretty tired. I got to go to bed. But then I started it back up this morning. I just, I finished it before we did the show, and it was a great rewatch. I haven't seen this movie in probably maybe close to 2 years. No, not 2 years. Well, maybe 2 years. Maybe close to 2 years. Shannon, don't take my head off. How often do you watch this movie, Shannon?
Probably once a month or once every couple months.
Nice.
And I flip-flop. I watch this one and I watch Ghostbusters 2 on a semi-regular basis. I love both movies. All the stuff that Ghostbusters 2 gets, I don't listen to it. I saw Ghostbusters 2 in the movie theaters. I loved it then. 30 years later, I still love it. I love it now. So I'll watch it.
I haven't. I've only seen
the third one's coming out, and you're super excited.
Yeah, I know, right?
30 years waiting for them to come back.
It's crazy. I've seen the second one maybe twice. I haven't really seen the second one too much. I've seen this one more. But it was a fun time, dude. Like, I haven't watched an older movie like this for a long time. So
it's a great movie.
Oh, dude, it was so fun.
I mean, we'll talk more about it, but I mean, just the, I'll save everything for the rewatch.
For sure.
I could talk ad nauseum.
I can't wait. I can't wait to get into it with you guys. So we're going to be recording that, and that'll be up this Friday. And and then to move on, something that I'm very excited about, very, very, very excited about, happens this Tuesday. Technically, this Tuesday is the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Actually, today is the anniversary of it premiering in the United States. Sorry, couldn't do it today. We had a show. But Tuesday, Yeah, okay. I'm a dork. We get it. I'm a nerd, but that's okay. You can join me live. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be streaming myself watching the movie. I can't obviously stream the film on here, or like I get shut down. So there'll be sort of maybe some images. I'll put some Hogwarts holiday stuff, whatever. Some Wizards Cup, Tri-Wizard Cup graphic. Who knows? We'll have stuff on the screen. But I will sit down and basically you can hang out with me as I watch the movie, and I will give my sort of commentary as we watch the film. And I'll gush how much I love the film and what stuff means to me. It'll be a fun time.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
I'm hoping that we can contain ourselves and that we don't end up going to the end of the stream and then we're like, well, maybe we watch the second one and we just keep it going. I'm only going to keep it to this movie, I promise. But yeah, definitely you can be there live. We're going to go Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time is when I will be live doing that. And then it'll be up. And then obviously the Ghostbusters rewatch is up on Friday. So be on the lookout. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when this stuff goes down, because you don't want to miss it. And we got all sorts of other stuff. So Disney Plus Day happened earlier this week. We got all sorts of crazy announcements. Basically, Disney Plus had this day where they announced all the stuff to come down the pipeline for the next couple of years. Mainly focusing on Marvel. Marvel, I think, was the big hitter. What do you guys think of? So the way that they did the event was they basically did a bunch of tweets. So they didn't live stream anything. It wasn't like DC Fandom where they put on this big event. They basically just tweeted out a bunch of stuff. What did you think about the strategy there?
I mean, interesting approach. I also saw that they had like a 14-minute video on Disney Plus itself. So it was like a 14-minute long compilation of all the like what is already on the streaming service and then what is yet to come. That's right. How it was kind of like set up there. And so to know that a majority of the announcements went through tweets was like, that's pretty interesting. And that's pretty crazy how they kind of went this whole free roam type of thing. They didn't organize it like a DC Fandom.
Yeah.
I think they know, again, it reminds me of Sony and all these leaks. It's kind of like they're letting the leaks promote the movie more than the actual marketing. And it's kind of like all word of mouth. Yes. And that's the kind of route they went this way. And I thought that was pretty interesting. That's what that reminds me of. Kind of like a word of mouth situation.
I didn't like it.
I wasn't a big fan of it either, to be honest. I
was gonna say something worse, but I decided I'm gonna play.
Very anticlimactic. There's nothing like there, like how DC Fandom is. We can all kind of like gather together, and that we know we're watching together, and we can like message each other like, "Hey, did you see this? Did you see that?" It's very interactive that way. But yeah,
see, here's the thing, though. This is Disney, right? Yep. This is the Walt Disney Company, and if Warner Brothers if you liked DC Fandom or not, how they produced it, they actually took the time and effort to put together like an event.
Yeah.
And the Walt Disney Company did not do that. They didn't. It was, I'd say, anticlimactic for me. And not everyone follows Twitter. It would have been better if they just hosted. They had a show. They hosted the show on Disney Plus, and then you simulcast it out to YouTube and Instagram and to Twitter and all that stuff. But then the home base is on Disney Plus, and then you get that all out there, and you can have like your different sections. So first section you can lead off with like the Disney stuff, the Disney Pixar stuff. Get that out of the way, and then you can lead on and then you can branch off to their newer stuff. So you go from, so you can talk about Princess and the Frog and Cars and Buzz Lightyear and all that, and then you can move on to Marvel, or save Marvel last, since that's like the biggest. That's the one that generates the most buzz, right? I mean, and then you could have had someone, or some people like interacting, just like in DC Fandom. I think that would have been, to me, I think that would have been more entertaining than just like, oh, look, hey, there's they just tweeted out a trailer. Oh, hey, look, they just tweeted out a featurette on Obiwan. Okay.
Yeah.
They could have done better.
Yeah, it seemed kind of lazy. I don't know if that's, who knows? I can't. This is me speculating, I guess, but I don't know if that's Bob Chapek. I just feel like Iger would have done it differently. I mean, this is. I guess we're gonna. All right, I'm playing favorites here. I think Iger is better. But anyways, that's here nor there. I just think. Yeah, and it was strange to me that they streamed all the footage and stuff, but it's exclusively on Disney Plus. And then it came out later, but it's like, why? Like the people that are subscribed to Disney Plus are already subscribed. The goal for this event is to get new subscribers. Mm-hmm. So don't show your, advertise your stuff, not exclusively to your members. It's weird.
And their subscription rates fell flat.
They did.
So, obviously what they did didn't work. And maybe they should follow. Even Paramount, even CBS, Viacom CBS did Star Trek Day back in September. And that was an event. That was video. That was live. They had live interviews. They had recorded interviews. They did trailers. They did all of that, right? They had question and answer sections. Guys, they had a live orchestra out there.
Wow.
On the lot playing, the Star Trek medley of theme songs and the movies throughout, the 50 plus years of the franchise. So I thought that was fantastic. And that was just one company, one franchise. Right. And then again, Warner Brothers and DC Fandom went and did it, DC Fandom. And, there were parts where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to tune out for this one, but overall, from a producer's point of view, I thought it was a successful undertaking.
Yeah.
This is, it was just disappointing to see how it went down.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, we can move on and discuss it, I guess, a little later as we go through things. But yeah. So the first thing I want to bring up from the Disney Plus day, the X-Men 97. So. I don't know if we're gonna get copyright struck or whatever, but
no, we're not.
Oh well, I mean, sometimes
we're fine.
We're all right. But they did it, man. This was rumored. I heard, like super speculation. They talked about this months ago, where they're like, oh, they're gonna bring back the original X-Men animated series, and I just was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, no way. But then they announced it with a little,
lo and behold,
with a little thing, and I was kind of bummed. Like, I wanted them to have a featurette released with this. I was like, dude, it'd be so cool to like see the original. Most of the original actors, I think, are coming back, is what I heard.
Yeah.
What
I heard was that those that have not passed on, they are bringing back.
That's awesome.
So they're not even turning away people. They're like, if you voiced act on this show and you're still alive, you're coming back.
Come back. Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah, I mean, it was another, if I remember correctly, didn't the franchise end on a cliffhanger or something?
It ended on I wouldn't call it a cliffhanger, but it was just like, it's like one of those open-ended endings.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a definite end. It was just like, it felt like the end to a plot line, but it didn't feel like the end of the series.
Mm-hmm.
So
correct me if I'm wrong, is the 5th season like something of its own? Like they tried doing like another story, and then that also had an open end to it. So I heard like season 4 had an open end to it, but then they tried doing something else in season 5.
So like the 5th season stands out for multiple reasons, and the biggest one too is that they changed animation houses.
That's right. Yeah.
So the quality changed. The voice actors were still the same, but the quality of the stories changed. The quality of the animation changed, not for the better.
Yeah.
You know, so
interesting. And I also heard there was a comic series that kind of followed the narrative of the show, but I don't know how much they're going to follow that. You know,
they'll probably disregard it. I mean, that's what it seems like. A lot of these franchises do that have like comic continuations.
Mm-hmm.
They disregard
brush them
it.
off.
Yeah, they brush them off. Like even, you know, I'm going to bring it up again. Star Trek had a comic continuation or like a prequel or whatever of before the 2009 Star Trek movie. Like J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot, like they were fully involved in the production of like this comic series, this limited series. And it basically told the story of what happened just prior to the beginning of 2009 Star Trek. And, you know, for a long time, for like a good 15 years, maybe 12 to 15 years, people were like, okay, this is what happened. But now with these new shows that are coming out, it's like, wait, that didn't happen. Because like in the comics, there were characters who were alive during the time period that these new shows are taking place in. And those characters are not alive anymore. Like and it's like, okay, so they're not following the comics, you know, and that's probably what's going to happen with this one. Like even Ghostbusters 2016, they had like they had the comic series, comic tie-in and all that.
Right.
And it continues on that story, but obviously they're not following on with that, right? It's just it's a complete retcon. So whether it's going to be a retcon for, you know, if they're going to retcon X-Men 97, where are they going to start off with, right? Are they going to retcon the entire 5th season? Are they going to continue at the end of the 5th season? You know, and then you also have to think about like for the storylines. So for me, the year 97 seems pretty specific. So if it's still going to be like 90s era, and like quick note, some of these Disney shows that they've announced, they have, you know, there's some 90s tie-ins to that decade for some reason. You know, so they're leaning into the 1990s. But are they going to now X-Men, the animated series? One of the reasons personally I think it was such a great show was that they didn't worry about taking the comic stories and the comic plot lines from the comics and then adapting it for television, right? A lot of the plots that you see in the cartoon happen in the comics, but they just adapted it for television, you know? And I thought that was fantastic. You know, the Dark Phoenix saga was adapted in X-Men in the animated series and was 100 times better than the 2 Dark Phoenix movies that we got. Wow. You know,
very successfully.
So,
yeah. I'm excited for this revival. I think it's, you know, this goes back to the fan service thing too that we've talked about. That's obvious. That just seems to be the world we live in. But I don't see any problem with this. You know, it's like, bring back these beloved characters, make new stories. It just creates jobs for people in the industry. Like, I got no problem with this.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. And everyone with you know, they're a minority. The people who grew up back then who watched that show religiously now have families of their own.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's like, now you've got the parents involved and now you got their kids involved, you know.
And let's not forget that the X-Men were, you know, with the Fox merger, the X-Men came over to Disney. So what better way to introduce your X-Men? This is our first taste of what Disney wants to do with the X-Men. And I think this is a great way to introduce you to, okay, this is officially Disney X-Men. Let's see what they do. And then hopefully it's going to be interesting because you're going to have to, just like we're going to mention the next story, which is the Spider-Man thing. but the Spider-Man animated series ties in directly into Tom Holland. So I don't.
Oh, real quick, before we move on, I just got to say something real quick.
Yes, yes.
So, okay, so if X-Men 97 is this is it, right? This is the Disney-fied version of X-Men that are coming, and it's X-Men the animated series, which borrows heavily from the comics.
Yeah.
That means that the characters and the team that we're getting is this team. Rogue got her powers from a certain Marvel character.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how far they're going to take that.
True.
Good call.
Set around the same era too, in the same decade. So this could be, wow, their introduction to.
Because said character is in the show. It's in a couple of episodes of the show. We see this character, and then we get the backstory of what Rogue did to this character and how Rogue got her abilities.
Yeah.
Not just her mutant power, of course, is absorbing energy from people, the life force of people.
Are you not saying it because you consider it a spoiler?
Yeah, well, some people may not know.
I was gonna say, yeah, it might be considered a spoiler. It's hard to tell.
Okay.
Yeah,
these days.
And it's to me, I think it's pretty big, especially God, if they want to introduce the X-Men into the MCU, what better storyline is to follow that one?
That's
So
true.
you think all the X-Men we know and love existed in the past, according to like the MCU timeline?
Or they existed and people didn't know how to classify them. I don't know.
Right. Well, it makes there's so many things, like with Eternals and like what happens in Eternals, and it's like, was that does that have something to do with the X-Men? With
X-Men, it's what about Scarlet Witch, right?
Exactly.
I don't want to jump too far ahead, but they are reshooting Doctor Strange, and they could have some mutant aspects that they're reshooting after announcing X-Men 97, and Multiverse of Madness is Multiverse of Madness.
That's
so what if
true.
we bring the X-Men over from their universe?
Hey, and if we're jumping, I might as well bring up, Agatha House of Harkness.
True. I don't know. That's true. I don't have a graphic for that, so you might as well bring that up.
Where it's like,
Wow.
I get the play on words, House of Darkness, House of Harkness. But any Marvel fan knows that there was an X-Men series called House of M.
Yep. Oh, I didn't even put that together.
And now we've got Agatha House of Harkness, and Agatha Harkness is a character in that series. So I don't know.
Just speculating. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the chat what you think. We encourage comments if you're here watching the show. Let us know what you think. Also you can comment in the chat. Also down below in the actual comments of the video, let us know your thoughts on these topics, guys. We really want to know. We respond to all the comments.
Yes.
We'll read, and if you got a good theory or whatever, put it down there. We'll bring it up in the next show for sure.
I swear we should put up the image from Signs with all of them wearing the foil hat. Oh man!
Let's go into the next topic, which is the animated Spider-Man series, which I've wanted an animated Spider-Man series for so long, ever since the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series, which is so good, so good. And there have been other Spider-Man animated series, but I just haven't gotten into them. So I was hoping that they would do.
Not even the 90s.
No. Those, yes. I'm saying after Spectacular Spider-Man, which was 2008. From then on, I just haven't gotten into the other ones, obviously, that they've made.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to task there. Like we just talked about.
I've definitely seen the '90s anime. That's what I grew up on those too. So, and I don't know if you guys have seen the Spectacular Spider-Man, but it's so good.
For sure, man.
It might be my favorite version of Spider-Man.
I'm still upset it's canceled, bro. I'm still waiting for it to come back.
Oh, dude. This is what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm glad
you're getting this instead.
And that's fine. I'm okay with the revamp. It's like, but make it as good as that cartoon. You know what I'm saying? Like, give us another great one. I want a great one. What was so nice about the Spectacular Spider-Man, though, was it did deal with a Peter Parker that was fresh and new and like had just gotten his powers. And that's exactly what's going to happen. At least I'm assuming in Spider-Man freshman year, it's exactly what's going to happen with this one.
Yeah, for sure.
It is tied to Tom's character. So it's Tom's Peter Parker. And it's assuming because the Homecoming is sophomore year. And then Far From Home is junior year. Mm-hmm. And then I guess this is going to chronicle his freshman year, so him getting bit by the spider and all sorts of stuff like that. So yeah, which I found that very interesting, and I didn't realize that. Again, going back to like kind of this terrible strategy that they had, I didn't realize that until like I found that out by somebody else. And I was like, oh, okay. Like that would have been nice to know like from the jump, but I didn't know that for like hours after this thing happened. So what do you guys think? Are you excited? I'm very excited for Spider-Man animated. Anything animated Spider-Man gets me very, very excited.
I find it very interesting how they're hopping back, because that's like one of the main things I noticed when it came to this Spider-Man is like we're missing all the core elements. And I understand that they didn't want to do everything again, like kill Uncle Ben off again, but at least reference the guy, at least have Peter like Peter was more distraught at Stark's death than he was at his own relative's death. Like, it's like
we haven't seen it.
Exactly. So I'm really interested to see what this animated series has in store. However, this sounds really much like a mini series. I wonder what their long-term goal is for this animated series, because it just seems freshman year, but are they going to chronicle other time gaps like in between his movies or something?
I wonder what they're going to do, and I wanted to bring this question up to you guys because Tom is under contract for one more movie, which is No Way Home. That's his last on contract currently. And then I think he can appear in one other live action movie if I'm mistaken. I can't remember. But I think it's like he gets one more appearance in another Marvel movie, but that's all he's got right now on contract. Disney owns the rights to animated Spider-Man. So they can do whatever they want to with animated Spider-Man.
And I don't think they had Tom Holland voice his version of Spider-Man in What If. I think they had some other voice actor come in.
They did.
So yeah, they can do the same thing here if they really wanted to,
Yeah, I don't know if Tom's going to come back and voice this or not. I would assume, since they're very much like, yes, this is supposed to be Tom's version. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. They might, rewrite some contract, give him another deal or something, extend it for something else. Yeah, we know your films are up, but television's still offer. That's still an offer on the table. But
Shannon, got any thoughts?
Shannon?
Yeah,
I just see like a loading buffer.
You're just like, you think this is gonna you think this is gonna disappoint Shannon?
It's not gonna disappoint me.
It very well could.
For me, I just think they just need to keep moving forward. It's like this looking backward thing, having a whole series of looking backwards after we've already established where he is in the MCU, right?
And where we're going, like.
Yeah, and where we're going, and where and when and what we're going. I mean, it's all there. Like, who knows? Yeah. So, I could see this as like a movie, but I don't see what is he going to be doing? Is he going to be going after like just regular criminals? Are we going to see Uncle Ben? What kind of criminals are we going to be seeing at this point?
I wonder if he fought the Lizard. Like maybe Connors was like his high school professor or something. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
No, you bring up a good point.
They're thinking the same thing.
They're gonna have to have some of his iconic villains in this series. because
And then like
you know, you got kids, you know what I'm saying? This is aimed at children, you know what I'm saying? It's an animated series. So you're going to have to feature the Spider-Man gallery of characters and make it entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch, you know, it's weird. The placement of it is so weird. Like, okay, we're just going to watch Peter Parker be a human and then get bit by the spider and then he's going to run around.
The day in the life of Parker.
Yeah, it's just like, it is a little strange to me.
And it's like, it's not going to be any of the Sinister Six, because if it's any of the Sinister Six,
The
Senator
Six.
Senators are sinister, but but if it's any of the Sinister Six, I mean, to me, that's feature film level, right? So these got to be lower tier villains here. I like, my mind keeps going to Shocker, but then it's like, you know, Shocker. What? I mean, Scorpion. You know, I mean,
but
Rhino.
I was gonna say, Rhino. I mean, Black Cat, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Let's see, Black Cat released it.
Well, yeah, but they got some. All the rest of them show up so much later in his story, so it's just they got slim pickings here. It's a very strange time.
What about Gwen? Are we going to see Gwen in this?
Oh,
are we ever going to see a Marvel Studios MCU Gwen Stacy?
I don't know.
Is it because I know Sony owns like half of his characters, so maybe Gwen is one of the characters that they own. Like they have like the right to, and they didn't really license that off to.
I don't think so.
You know,
well, that's a good point.
Cartoon Land. Cartoon Land
is free land.
Yeah, I mean Disney has the rights to do whatever they want there. So,
which is why MJ isn't MJ.
Yeah,
like if they're gonna have Gwen Stacy, it'll be like, you know, Jen Lacey.
Or Gwen. I don't know.
Deb Macy.
Well, I was gonna say, you know, like stay. I was like, what's the opposite of stay? Go. So Gwen Gosi. All right.
Gwen Racy.
Gwen Racy, which is also a fun name. Anyways,
it's interesting how like they're still going this prequel route when they didn't really have the best track record with prequels. Like look at Black Widow. You know, like Black Widow's like, why are we going back? You know, this should have came out after Civil War. You know, I think this should have come out. You know, this should have been his first movie. You know, on paper it should have been, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where they go with this.
Yeah,
I'm thinking back to Civil War though, and where Peter is at that point. Right, he doesn't even have a proper suit.
No, he still has the goggles and stuff. So.
Right. Yeah, so you can't give him a suit.
It's because he doesn't get a proper suit until Tony gives it to him.
Unless he maybe what if he like makes his suit like a traditional Spider-Man, like how I wanted him to make his suit. Like he sews his own suit together and he has like a traditional Spider-Man suit, but it gets destroyed in whatever fight he has with this villain. So he goes back to his hand-me-downs. You know, like he puts back on his training outfit. And then that's when he like meets Stark. That's the only way I could possibly see, you know, kind of like the show having like an iconic Spider-Man look with the costume. Like, yeah, he did create his own costume, but it got ripped to shreds with the fight with, I don't know, the Lizard, you know, or Rhino, you know, so it's like, yeah, so maybe that could be an explanation. I don't know, you know.
I don't know. Who knows?
We'll see.
We'll have to see. I think that comes out in 2023, they said, so we'll be...
Jesus.
I think, from what I remember, or did it just say coming soon? I don't know. Either way, like I said, I really would have appreciated like a little featurette or some sort of with a featurette with X-Men, and this would have been super cool. But
yeah, right, a little animated segment.
Nice. Some sort of featurette where the creators talk about it would have been super cool.
Well, real quick, what do you think of the artwork as of right now? Apparently, it's gonna look like that. Looks like a stop motion comic to me right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. I like the animation style.
Very Steve Ditko-esque.
I was gonna say, seems very Steve Ditko. Seems very detailed. I don't like the whole sort of like trend that happened with animation, where we got the characters like are super just short and stubby, and just like not a lot of detail in the character. I'm just like, I don't like that trend. I think that trend, you know, with the what's the, I don't even know.
Yeah, that's a Cal Art style. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I just can't stand that. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but it's just not my style. And immediately like turns me off of any cartoon. I'm just like, nah, nope, sorry.
For me, it started with Teen Titans Go.
Exactly.
I recognized that. I recognized it everywhere else. I'm like, that's the
Exactly.
same damn animation style.
Yep.
Oh man.
But let's move on to the next topic here. Mr. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Basically
Hello there.
Basically the only Star Wars and Lucasfilm property that showed up on Disney Plus Day. So we got some Obi-Wan Kenobi. We got like a basically like a featurette sizzle reel where Ewan McGregor is talking about how excited he was to come back. He talks about how much the fans have wanted him to come back in the role, how much he's wanted to come back in the role. And then you have Deborah Chow, who directed episodes of The Mandalorian and did some really great work there. She's directing the entire series of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is super cool.
Nice.
And she brings up the fact that we are indeed going to see Hayden Christensen come back and play Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader. And then we obviously get these images I pulled, obviously this looks like Mustafar. Maybe they're going to fight on Mustafar. I don't know. But Ewan McGregor did say, like, yeah, they're going to fight again. Like, we're going to clash swords. Like, it's happening. So very exciting. They showed up. They did tease. They showed that Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to go off of Tatooine. He's going to go off world. At least that's what they presented it as. It's like, and the adventures and where it takes him. And I'm like, So, but obviously he's got to protect Luke. So what does he do there?
Yeah.
That's the thing that I don't know, guys. I've been looking forward to this for as long as everyone else has.
Mm-hmm.
But like when his whole point was, the whole point of him and Yoda going into exile was to train in the Force and to look out for Luke.
Yeah. Right.
That's what Obi-Wan was supposed to do. And if he's going to be leaving Tatooine, it's got to be for a good reason. Because it's like, if he's not around, if something happens to Luke, and he's off-world gallivanting, it's just like, what if, he comes back and, the Tusken Raiders got to the Skywalker household, I mean, I don't know.
Well, also, too, I mean, you bring up a good point because this is the problem with prequel stuff. We know what happens. So even if they did set up this tension of like, oh, I got to leave Luke, and like they try to set that up as like a stakes thing. No, we know that Luke's going to end up being fine. Mm-hmm. There's no stakes there. And that's the problem with this stuff is it's like... And
Obi-Wan's going to be fine. Owen and Beru's going to be fine up until episode 5. or episode 4.
But no, that is seriously a huge problem. Star Wars has faced this many times before, but it's like, we understand. Same thing with Darth Vader. Like, even this fight, it's like, how emotional is this fight going to be? Because it's like, oh, well, we know that you guys meet up again on the Death Star. And when we know these things...
True.
You just go, nah.
Like how much you want to bet that Obi-Wan's going to win this one? He's going to have the victory because it explains why Vader gets the victory over him in the original.
Uh-huh.
He must have.
Well, you have to justify that line, though. When I left you, I was but a learner. Now I am the master.
Right.
Only a master of evil, Darth. And then they go into the thing. So.
Yep. So he's probably gonna like make Vader look like a bitch by the end of this, right?
But this is the thing though. It's like Disney's not gonna. I mean, Darth Vader's like he's the big bad of Star Wars, so they're not gonna make him. They're not gonna make him look like a bitch. They maybe they should. Especially,
he's definitely gonna lose the fight. I think
he probably will.
He will be beaten by Obi-Wan. He'll get the best of him
for sure.
Or there's going to be some type of a draw or something because you get that there like is a
Force Awakens thing where the Earth cracks or like the planet cracks in the middle. And
it could be exactly like that, or maybe something more crazy like what happens in Rebels between Ahsoka and Vader.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
who
Mhm.
knows? Who knows? You know, but
yeah, like what
That's some good-
what takes him off world though? Like that's got to be such a
yeah, something's got to be important enough for him to go off world. Because the whole point, so Rebels pretty much stated that, you know, if you were, you know, if there were any Jedi out there, like you had to lay low.
Mhm.
Because any chance of being found out as a Jedi, that was all, you know, that was a death sentence.
I have an idea. At least how I would do it. You make it like you know, and they do they reference like the old samurai films, right? But you have where you got some sort of Empire force shows up on Tatooine, and the only option is to get Luke out of there. And so he has to take Luke off world with him to protect him, to get him away from the Empire that's coming to look for him on Tatooine. And then maybe, you know, that's how I would do it, because then it makes sense. And then you can make a connection to, I mean, again, I don't know how because it seems like Luke knows who he is by the time
Luke during this show. How old is Luke supposed to be? Is he still a baby?
No,
like,
I said they said I think it's like he's like 9 or 8 years old or something like that.
Interesting, because I think he would remember being taken off world by
Obi-Wan.
You know?
And yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it doesn't. I don't know if it works. I mean, it seems like when we meet Luke, it's like he knows of this Ben character. He's like, oh yeah, he lives down. You know, he's like, oh, isn't he crazy? And then Lars is like, yeah, that dude's nuts. Like we don't associate with that guy. So I don't know. Who knows? It's kind of tricky.
It is tricky, you know, because Luke cannot know who Obi-Wan is until episode 4.
Right.
So up until this
point,
or
about the Jedi, you know, or about the Jedi or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like he got none of that. So,
so at the least, he's the crazy old man who lives in the desert by himself. At most, he could be, that weird, that guy that knows some tricks.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking, like it would be cool to see like the relationship of Ben Kenobi and little Luke, almost analogous to Doc Brown and Marty McFly.
True.
Where it's like everyone sees this dude as like this crazy old scientist who's like out of his gourd, right? But then like you got this kid who's like, no, this guy is cool.
Yeah,
he's my friend, and then you find, and then like the old, this crazy old coot is actually, someone that's beyond anyone's expectations. It's just like I always just thought it'd be cool, like if you get like a Doc Brown and Marty vibe, in this Obi-Wan show, I think that would be really cool. Yeah.
Do you think we're gonna see Qui-Gon Jinn?
I think so.
We may hear him. I don't know if we're going to see him, and I only say that because if you watch Clone Wars and Rebels, there's a reason why we only hear him. Especially specifically Clone Wars. If you've seen the Clone Wars show, there's a reason why you only hear him and they don't see him unless there's like specific circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we may hear Liam Neeson, or we may see him in a dream, or maybe what Obi-Wan does is he goes to a Jedi temple somewhere, and communes with the Force and sees Qui-Gon. Who knows? And then while he meets with Qui-Gon, he gets tracked by Darth Vader, and then they have a freaking battle at this old Jedi temple. I know it sounds very Fallen Order to me, but but it's
true. But
I don't know.
Still super cool to speculate about.
Speaking of Fallen Order, do you think that main character from there, Cal Castian, is that him? Do you think he'll like come into maybe the Obi-Wan show? Maybe he'll be like a secret cameo to kind of tie
I
it
would
together.
love that. like I would love to see Cal Kestis. I would love to see, these extra trilogy characters
Mhm.
Yeah.
like come in. Like when Ahsoka showed up in The Mandalorian,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the way.
This is the way.
This is how you do it. You are not. This is not just a franchise. This is a mythology. This is lore. This is modern lore and folk tales. And if you're going to, treat this right, you got to tell it like it's mythology. It's all interconnected. Filoni did a fantastic job with the Clone Wars series and with Rebels, and with his work with Jon Favreau on The Mandalorian, establishes what they should have been doing from step one.
Yeah.
When they acquired Lucasfilm from George. Filoni was George's right-hand man. He was basically training him. He was George's Padawan, essentially.
Yep.
And that's a guy who should be heading, anything story related as far as Star Wars goes.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
I can't wait for a trailer. I hope we get one soon, man. I'm thinking maybe around Christmas now. I'm thinking we might get one.
For sure.
I would see that, yeah. Like around Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Or, you know what? Just like they did, just like they did with the Book of Boba Fett, maybe they're going to put this trailer at the end of Book of Boba Fett, just like they did season 2 of Mando with the Boba Fett. Literally, they played it, and it wasn't a trailer, but you know what I'm saying? It was like that end credit scene. So I wonder if their end credit scene for Book of Boba, it would be this trailer.
Depends on how directly tied in it is, because
exactly.
Mando was directly tied into Boba.
True, that is true.
But yeah, that's a good thought.
Let's move on to the next topic. Shall we? Moving into the Marvel live-action TV show realm, we have our first look at She-Hulk. She-Hulk. Very interesting. There was a little tease. Wasn't anything too crazy. We get to see her in a dress, and then we get to see her kind of in a comic accurate looking suit. She looks green. Looks pretty cool.
She looks green.
She is green.
Is she CGI'd or is that like
got that
painted
right.
skin?
Did you say is that pig skin?
No, painted skin.
Sorry.
Pig skin.
I heard you wrong. I think that looks painted to me. Like very, that doesn't. I couldn't imagine.
I think it's CG. I think it's motion capture.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Because She-Hulk, she's not going to be as, as
huge
Hulk as Hulk, but she's going to be. She's big,
taller than average.
She's a big lady, so it's
not true.
I mean, we're talking, probably not. I don't think is not as tall as Lady Dimitrescu, but I mean, we're talking around there. So. I brought her up. I don't care.
Okay.
Well, think about it. I mean, she's basically a female Hulk, and if you're going to follow I don't want to get too scientific, but like the morphology, she's not going to be as bulked as the Incredible Hulk.
Right.
So, but she's going to be bigger than a person. And so that's going to entail either puppetry or some form of motion capture to make her look bigger than normal.
That is true.
So that's why I think
classic force perspective.
Yeah, well, they could do force perspective, but then they've got to be on point with every single shot.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. It was a little tease. I'm excited. I hope that it's a good show. Marvel usually tends to make good TV shows. They haven't really let me down, a crazy amount. There are more I'm excited for than others, but I don't think they've let me down yet.
I mean, I'm optimistic about it, and the fact that you bring in She-Hulk, that also opens up the world to other Marvel characters that we have not seen often, or maybe we could see returning characters from the Netflix Marvel shows.
True.
Through this She-Hulk show. So
You bring up a good point. I think this would be a good vehicle to introduce those characters. There's another shot in the sizzle trailer, whatever sneak peek thingy, where Bruce, she's in a containment thing, and then Bruce is outside of it, and he's Smart Hulk, and his hand isn't all busted, right? His hand it's not in a sling, it's not all busted, so he hasn't gone through Endgame yet. So I wonder if this takes place in the gap between Infinity War and Endgame is when the show takes place. I don't know.
Or it takes place after and he's regenerated.
True.
Because he's the Hulk.
Yeah.
So that's also a possibility.
That's also a possibility.
And I'm also she's a lawyer.
Yep.
So could she be arguing with or against a certain other superhero lawyer?
Well, and if he shows up in No Way Home?
We'll see. Now, see, that picture with him in it looks more realistic than that other photo. Like, I can buy that being a leaked photo from the
Matt Murdock one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other one, I think
get that dog water out of here.
That's crap.
I think they're both real, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, you're more of an editor than I am, so.
I mean, yeah.
To me, it looks Photoshop, but I mean.
It very well could be, but I agree with the other shot of Matt Murdock. It's like that location is the same location that's in the trailer. It's the same living room. It's, you know what I'm saying? You got all these characters sitting. It definitely is a frame from the movie. And I think all three of those both of those shots, I guarantee you both of those shots are from the film. Like, hands down, they're in the movie. Now, were they photoshopped and other people were put into those shots? Maybe. But you know, who knows? We will only find out with time, which we're so close.
Our bet for bragging rights is still up. Yes,
I believe they're real. We'll have to wait and see.
That'd be very interesting. But
they're fake.
They're fake. I tell you, fake. The last thing I'm excited for about She-Hulk is that because the one thing I noticed about She-Hulk when I was younger is that she fights alongside the Fantastic Four. So I know that is like an inevitable team up that's about to happen.
Yeah.
And so, that's gonna be so exciting to see. I'm sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
No, I agree. It's gonna be who knows. I mean, yeah, I'm excited for the Fantastic Four to be introduced, which they should be here soon. I would think within at least maybe next year, right? I'm assuming.
True. I really love.
They'll have their own animated show premiering in 2026.
Aha, that's a long time, bro.
or maybe just Human Torch, and it's called Johnny.
The animated adventures of Johnny and family.
The Johnny story.
Well, let's move on to the next topic.
And it's Chris Evans.
yes, that'd be great. We also got first look at Moon Knight. That's Oscar Isaac from the Star Wars fame playing Moon Knight.
Or is it Oscar Isaac, Shannon?
It's Oscar Isaac. It's the clean shaven.
It's a clean shaven Oscar Isaac, exactly.
So used to seeing him with a beard.
Come on, let's load our stuff here. Trying to pull up info.
Did Poe Dameron have a beard? I don't think he did. Did he?
Poe had.
Or you have like a 5 o'clock. Oh, okay.
I think he had a 5 o'clock in the last one.
My phone.
Last Jedi, I think.
I'm trying to find.
And Force Awakens, but even then, does that look like Poe Dameron though? No. It's different.
And it definitely doesn't sound like him either, because he's got he's got some weird accent. So if you don't know who Moon Knight is, I got a little graphic here that explains shortly who he is. His name is Mark Spector, aka Moon Knight, and he's imbued with a silver of the Egyptian moon god. I can't pronounce this name. Khonshu's power.
Sure.
he has lunar strength that increases his ability under the moonlight. Ooh. So basically, he's been brought back to life by Kenobi on numerous occasions. He can go through solid objects while transforming into his caped semblance. I don't know what that means.
Just his costume form.
I was gonna say this. Is that what that? Yeah, is that what that?
His
yeah.
alter ego.
Exactly.
Basically.
He can control an entire army of the undead mummies. Exciting.
More zombies. Great.
He has absorbed the mystical powers of the Iron Fist, the Sorcerer Supreme, Ghost Rider's Spirit of Vengeance. He's able to control the universe's different moons and objects made out of them. Cool.
Wow.
He utilizes web shooters that mimic Spider-Man and an energy shield similar to Captain America's vibranium shield.
Fuck, is he Taskmaster?
This sounds like a sixth grader's like insert character for fan fiction.
Yeah, it's made by
1988.
It's made by Fandom or whatever that website I think made this. So, but interesting. Just to give a quick description. This is basically like Marvel's Batman for sure.
Yes, he does play around in the dark because he's powered by the moon.
Does he shoot moonbeams out of his eyes?
He shoots
He
moonbeams
shoots cheese out of his.
He is schizophrenic, right? From what I remember.
I know it certainly has a personality disorder. It's like a split personality that's inside of him.
Yeah.
It's like two voices going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be this deity, this moon deity figure, or it could be just it's his split personality as Moon Knight that's coming forth.
Mm-hmm.
So, who knows? I mean, like when you deal with split personalities in superhero genres, it's either there's an actual separate personality inside, or the person is crazy. So who knows?
And it's weird that they kept this again. This promo to me. This and the She-Hulk one were very strange to me because I'm like, they've shot a good majority. I think they've maybe wrapped on this show, or they're just about to, or they're close to. Same thing with the She-Hulk. I think they're pretty close to wrapping that up, if not wrapped. Why didn't we get a reveal? Like they kept both of these characters in shadow and didn't give like a full reveal. And I'm just like, why? Why? Like, I don't know. It's not a secret. They announced these shows were coming out years ago. I just don't get it. Like, why don't we actually see them? It's very weird.
Who knows? Maybe it's like some untaught formula to us when it comes to marketing. It's like we got to have some teasers where it's like we show the shoulder of the hero, and then so because it keeps them coming back for more. It's like
I mean, and this plays into the disappointment of how they rolled this stuff out compared to fandom. If this was DC fandom, we'd be going in. There'd be a whole segment dedicated to the
character,
to like who is Moon Knight. Let's go into and then you can have your featurette with the comics and all of that and stuff, and then you can have like your sit down one-on-one with Oscar Isaac, and he's like, so Moon Knight is blah 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 blah, and you can talk to some of the writers and the director. That'll be great, and then you can have like this 10-minute featurette, so people who have no idea who Moon Knight is, it's like, okay, cool, I'm looking forward to it. Instead, we get like this teaser trailer, with people like, okay, there's Oscar Isaac and he's talking to himself, and he looks like, comic version of Taskmaster, but white and a cross between the Nightingale from Skyrim. So I don't know. Yeah, that's what I thought. I saw his stuff. I'm like, that looks like the Nightingale, white Nightingale armor.
Mm-hmm. That's a good general public perspective you had on it. It's like if you don't know the comics, or if you don't even know, or if you're not even interested in like deeper Marvel, you won't know of Moon Knight. I know Moon Knight from Marvel Ultimate Alliance. He was one of the unlockable characters.
Mhm.
I thought he looked so cool, so I just started, that's how I figured out about him. But like anyone else, they see that, they're like, oh, that reminds me of something else. And I think this is just a cheap ripoff of it. Like when he was going, like when he was pounding on that dude in the bathroom or whatever, straight up Batman, dude. Like just like from the Robert Pattinson version, especially, So it's like, that reminded me of Batman. This is Marvel's Batman. See how generalized this guy's already being. So
Oscar Isaac, you're like, I'm vengeance.
In his accent,
I am the knight, literally Moon Knight. You brought up a good point, and I have a friend who saw Eternals, and they posted something and they tagged me in it, and they said, "Hey man, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is your thing," and basically like they're kind of checked out because he feels like Marvel's pushed it too far. Like he can't keep up with what's going on. And
in terms of like being really different and out there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like everything that they're doing right now, he can't keep up. And so he tagged me and he was like, the MCU is yours. Like it's like, he's like, I'm just kind of I'm a normal comic book fan. I don't know all this. I don't know, I'm not deep into it. Wow. And he's basically checking out. And I found it so interesting. I want to get him on a show either the Thursday show or next Sunday show, but I want to bring him on to talk to him about it because I think it's a good point and a good discussion because did Marvel, same thing, with the Loki and, Spider-Verse and even Eternals, like, are they pushing too far? Mm-hmm. Are they going too far in that direction where they're going to lose people?
All of this just makes me think of what is the next end game? What's their next end point? What are they trying to build up to that is going to please everyone?
Yeah.
I just can't help but think, Secret War, just an amalgamation of everything that we have that seems so distant as of right now. This is the next phase one. We're entering in the next version of a phase one. Everyone's separate so far. So that's why everything seems all over the place. I'm just curious as to how everything's going to come back around and tie into everything. Because it is one cohesive universe at the end of the day. It markets itself and it's made $1 billion based off that alone. Mm-hmm. Endgame, a lot of people went to go see Endgame because they knew that at some point there was going to be a frame with almost every single character on it. And that was just, revolutionary. Well, so they're going to have to try to do it again with these guys,
And you got to imagine, again, I can't, if you try to put yourself in the shoes of a normal Marvel fan, right, who doesn't know anything about the comic books, you probably thought Endgame was going to be the end, and that the Marvel Cinematic this is naive.
Everything's going to get rebooted again.
Yeah, it's very naive to think this, but I don't blame them because they're like, oh, Endgame, all right, it's all going to end, but yet things continued, and I think maybe they should have kept it a little simpler, you know what I'm saying? And
like the thing is, like, Eternals is so left field.
Yes.
It's like that was, to me, that was not, God, I can't even speak. Here I am, I'm like choosing my words carefully here. Eternals, I think, was a bad call. And okay, listen, I'm not a movie exec, I'm not a studio exec, I'm not a Hollywood veteran, whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm an indie producer, still, who's just about to graduate film school. So it's like,
and we're gonna make our own thing. It's gonna be spectacular.
Indeed.
Check it out. It's gonna be so awesome.
But think about it though. How many people knew about the Inhumans? Nobody. And it tanked bad. Mm-hmm. Eternals comes out. How many people know about the Eternals? Nobody. And now you get this movie where brand new people are introduced, and it's like, who are these people? Why should I care about them? And where is this going to lead? At least with Shang-Chi, you had that immediate tie-in with the 10 rings, right? We've been, 10 rings has been built a part of the MCU since Iron Man, 2008, so we know underlying, it was just like this shadow, every now and then you saw a reference. I think the latest reference before Shang-Chi came out was an Ant-Man or Ant-Man and the Wasp. There was like a reference to the 10 rings. So it's like, that that's fine. Like, so for Shang-Chi, I'm like, okay, now let's finally find out what these 10 rings are about, because I've been waiting a damn long time for this. Eternals is just like, who? What? Like, I'd rather have seen like a movie about the Nova Corps from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
exactly. Or
and introduce Nova.
Exactly. Or Guardians 3. It's like, bring that on. You know what I'm saying? It's been forever for that. Why didn't we put that in? I mean, I understand James Gunn was doing Suicide Squad, so they had to push it back. I get it. And then we had the pandemic. So, but
I think Nova, Nova Corps would have been cool.
Yeah.
Bringing
or something.
Bringing up Guardians is like, I wonder, despite it, of course, being helmed by such a talented filmmaker, James Gunn, that knew the source material so well, do you think that what do you think that really had people latch on to Guardians? Because we didn't have really any buildup for them either when they came along. They kind of felt like a left field. Oh, and this is also what's happening in the intergalactic side. So what do you think really hit home and made them the household names that both Eternals and Inhumans cannot do? Is that because they had the responsibility of setting up the other stones?
No,
do you think that helped, or
that also helped? But I know exactly what. There are no furry creatures, small CG creatures in Eternals.
Okay. There's no Groot.
There's no Rocket. There's no Groot. That's why.
So Guardians of the Galaxy. Here's my take. Right. Okay. Yeah. That was out of left field too. But you know what? You had characterization. You had damn good characters. You had relatable characters.
That exists in Eternals too.
You got someone who's like Peter Quill? Come on.
No, for sure. These characters are now. Do they have the personality of? That's it. Okay.
Because think about how we're introduced to Peter and the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy, right? It's like 1980 something. His mother's dying.
Right.
The mixtapes, right, are it's another thing too, because that music, that nostalgia, like we've talked about this before, that has an uncanny reaction to people.
Right.
So when you're listening to this stuff, and especially with what was going on in the very beginning, that was an instant hook. And then he runs away from the hospital, and then he gets abducted by aliens. And then the next time we see him, he's on this alien world, kicking like these little aliens, singing. Hey, what's when you're kicking alien chipmunks to come and get your love, that's going to pique someone's interest, and they're going to be like, okay, this is pretty neat. And it was like that. Guardian. That's why I think one of the reasons why Guardians.
Obviously, Eternals doesn't. It's a slower film. It's too long, I think. I don't know. I think this is honestly what I think it was. You bring it up that the stones had to tie back to the stones, and it really gave us some backstory on the stones and kind of introduced us to that and set that up even more. And I guess I can't really predict what the Eternals is setting up, if they're setting up anything. I mean, I guess they kind of do. There's stuff that they set up, but it's even more left field. You know what I'm saying? Like, they do some things where it's like, oh, is this that thing? And, there's the, Galactus possibilities that happen. That's not a spoiler because he's not in the movie. But who knows? So I don't know. But I don't know. We could talk forever about what we thought of Eternals. Definitely, Guardians was more fun for sure. Definitely more fun, but still,
I thought the visuals were fantastic.
Oh yeah.
That was amazing. And again, they tied in Thanos, right? And Thanos was already established.
Yes.
So
Yes. And I think it's the fact that they're basically splitting your attention. At least that's kind of what it seems like. It's like, oh, hey, we got Loki and the multiverse and Doctor Strange and now Spider-Man are dealing with all this, and then we bring in the Eternals, but it's like, who are, you got to introduce all these characters, and then they don't directly tie into, they were kind of off doing their own thing. They don't directly tie to what Doctor Strange is up to. They don't tie directly to Spider-Man in any way, or Wanda in any way, or Loki in any way. So
it's like their own enclosed thing.
Yeah. Which I think was a mistake. You should have had a cameo from one of our main people. Like, you should have included them. Yeah. I think it would have helped.
Yeah, another thing with Guardians, though, was, I'm sorry, let me say this real quick. Like, the marketing campaign for Guardians was amazing.
Yes.
I mean, they leaned all into the classic rock, and when you got, Blue Swedes, Hooked on a Feeling.
Yeah.
And they worked that into the trailers. I'm telling you, let me tell you how magical that was.
It was
no. Think of, okay, just real quick. So I was a groomsman in one of my good friends' weddings. We were in Key West, and they did not mention anything to anyone on what song that they were going to come out to and dance during the reception. None of us knew. Like, we knew what song that we were walking to for the reception, as the groomsmen, the best man, and all that were coming out and stuff like that. And here we are on the dance floor waiting for them to come out, and then there's like a few seconds of silence, right? And there's everybody, all the families, all the friends, we're all here, and out of nowhere, guys, ooga chaka, ooga, chaka. And then I see, the bride and groom are like marching to I Can't Fight This Feeling. And they're dancing to Hooked on a Feeling. And we're like, oh my God, all I could think of was like Guardians of the Galaxy.
See, that's cool.
I talked to him after that, and he's like, that's where we got the idea, but we didn't want to tell anybody.
Nice.
So that's it. Eternals doesn't have that. I'm sorry.
It doesn't. Yeah. You're right. It doesn't. Well, I mean, no, it doesn't, but there are.
Yeah, the way you laid that out, man, Guardians did fucking lay its feet into the pop culture for sure.
Yeah.
100%. And I was thinking about it too, like the Infinity Saga is so kind of like tight knit within itself. It kind of feels left field, like the Eternals being like, "Oh, by the way, they were always there."
But
like, were they? It's like it's like,
I mean, they
on paper
they kind of
generalized it. That's how it comes.
But
off,
also too, I mean,
that's like saying the mutants were always there. We just didn't see them,
right? Which could happen.
Like,
the Eternals were here, but they couldn't do anything. We couldn't see them. Oh, and there were mutants that we couldn't. It's just like, whoa, hold on.
Oh yeah, Magneto. Oh yeah, he's always.
I mean, there. And there's this speculation of like, oh, when are we going to see the mutants, and like, when are we going to see the Fantastic Four, and blah 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 blah, and all this.
I was always Wanda's father. I don't know what you're talking about.
And this is the thing. Everyone's like, oh, how are they going to come in? How are they going to play in? Blah blah blah. If I'm Marvel, I'm literally probably the reason why it's taken so long is they're probably like, how do we do this? How do we explain where they've been? Like, that's the spot. That's where they showed up at. You know what I'm saying? Like,
my theory is the multiverse of madness. That's what I think the next big thing is about. Like, I like the Secret Wars, Christian.
Yeah.
But either the Secret War has to tie into this whole multiverse craziness, because what I see is a buildup to this cross-dimensional, cross-reality apocalypse, whether that's Secret War, or they turn that into Secret War and they introduce someone as the Beyonder. I don't know, because then everyone's going to be like, well, then who the fuck is the Beyonder? What is going on? I don't get any of this. Eternals, Beyonders, Galactus.
See, I'm assuming here we'll let's transition, because we're about right talking about Multiverse of Madness. Oh, shocker. But yeah, so, and we'll mention, obviously, this got pushed back, whatever. But a lot of people have been speculating that, like, oh, this is going to culminate and this is going to be the end of phase 4, blah, 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 blah. But like you said, with the stones, they set up the stones and you understood, like, I mean, if you knew the comics, you knew where we were going. So I'm wondering, like, at the end of Multiverse of Madness, is it all going to click? That's almost what this movie has to do. You have to be like, oh, this is what they're doing, and this is what they're setting up. Like, we need answers from this movie. Yeah. We absolutely need answers, which is why, maybe, I don't know, but they push this back, and they're doing, how much, 6 weeks of reshoots, right, Shannon?
Yeah, they're basically shooting from now until the end of the year.
Yes. Wow. 6 days a week.
6 days a week.
12, I would assume 12-hour days, 10 to 12-hour days probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No holiday for that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
well,
short
holiday. I think they'll break. I think they'll break
of course.
Holidays. They'll break for holidays, but guarantee you Sam Raimi and Kevin Feige and all those dudes aren't getting a break.
Oh no.
No, they might get Christmas Day off, but no. Sam Raimi.
This is like the type of project where it's like, I'll take a break when it's done. You know?
Yeah.
So
I wonder if they always intended for Doctor Strange 2 to be this big of a movie.
No, maybe. I don't think they did.
No, because that's crazy, man. How everything seems like it's pointing to this, you know? That's insane.
And I mean,
they did it themselves. I mean, they greenlight freaking No Way Home. What else do you expect? Or Loki, you know? And you're going to establish the TVA, you know? It's like, where do you think this is? You know, what do you think you're setting up? You know, you're setting up a multi-dimensional smorgasbord of insanity.
Yeah, and that's why I want to get my friend in to talk about, like, you know, because he told me, he's like, I'm checked out, like I can't keep up, and I wonder how much, you know, what are they gonna do? You know, I believe it. I believe they have some sort of a plan, but you bring up a good point, Christian. Like, they didn't there's so much weight now on this particular movie. Right? And then I think Ant-Man 3 comes out after this. That's the next theatrical release.
Yeah, and that's supposed to
that's Quantumania, right?
Yeah. With Kang. Kang is supposed to be the main villain in that one. So,
and that deals with a quantum realm, which is another reality,
yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. And also too, it's like, you know, I wasn't like blown away by the first Doctor Strange movie. I like Doctor Strange as a character, but I think he works better as like a cameo supporting character instead of, like, I don't know. I'm like, really? Like, he's just not the most compelling. Like the Spider-Man film, I totally get it. And it would be cool to see. Now, again, I think the movie is going to be Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange fight. I think they're going to fight each other in the beginning, but then they're going to team up to take out something or fix something. Because I feel like the way that they're setting it up is the multiverse is basically madness, right? And the only two people that can bring it back together are these two. That's kind of how I see it. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, that's how they're setting it up for sure. I mean, because they left off Wanda being like kind of like in her prime now. She's like multiplying herself, you know, like, so we're gonna, like, they set her up to be either a great antagonist or a great ally for this movie. So it's gonna be interesting to see what role she plays. And Doctor Strange, because I keep thinking back, for some odd reason, I keep thinking back to the What If episode where there was an evil Doctor Strange and like he's still out there somewhere. And I wonder if What If and all those realities are going to be tangled up in this Doctor Strange multiverse of madness. And if that's the case, I mean, you know, are we going to get that evil Doctor Strange in this movie? You know, and I wonder who is the big bad in this movie. You know, I'm also thinking trying to think of like interdimensional enemies from like Ghost Rider and like Doctor Strange. I think of like Shimagaroth, you know, could be one of them. Like he could show up in this as well. So it's like, it's very interesting and wacky to see like what they're gonna do. And like I mentioned before, the Infinity Saga is so tight knit. Like you sit back and look at it, it's so something of its own, you know. And like you said, your friend felt like maybe Endgame was the end of that. So all this just like coming out of left field. Everything's just coming out of left field, especially with the multiverse. It's like, whoa, already? Even I felt a little bit like, wow, they really are delving into the multiverse like now. It's like now or never, and I thought we were going to get like at least like a build up to Miles before we even delve into the multiverse or something. I thought we were going to spend a lot more time with Peter and everyone, but it seems like they're just colliding everything. And I wonder what is the end game here, man. But yeah, I think for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, it is going to be 100% probably. I think, probably enemies at first, like you mentioned, man. I think enemies at first, and then a bigger threat is going to come. Like Qui-Gon Jinn said, there's always a bigger fish. So something's going to come in and like a Deus Ex going to be like, all right, now I'm going to conquer all,
Right.
Mephisto? No, like that. just bring up the Mephisto theories again.
Well, Dormammu can come back. I mean,
for sure.
Oh yeah, I think he's going to be in the movie for sure.
Or
do you think he'll have like a physical form this time? That'd be cool.
It's a possibility, but don't forget Mordo.
Baron Mordo, yeah.
Yeah, Mordo. So Mordo might become the villain, or Mordo is working as an agent of something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you have to bring Mordo back. If you're going to do Doctor Strange or Doctor Strange centric film, you got to bring back Mordo. Scarlet Witch, I could see her being. They might be at odds to begin with, but then again, they may not, because the last time the two worked together was in Endgame fighting Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, barring the television show, but barring WandaVision, she's an Avenger, right?
Yep.
It's this iteration. So I don't see her being the bad guy. I see, because she has reality warping powers,
right? Because
of the Reality Stone. In this, whether they're going to change that into her mutant ability, I don't know. But with her teaming up with Doctor Strange, I could see that. Now, when you have those two powerful people like that teaming up against something, that something needs to be like insane.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either Mephisto, it's either Dormammu, it's
a team up, Mephisto and Dormammu.
Yeah,
and Mordo,
that, or it could be a Celestial. It could be, I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, we got to be getting some sort of footage. This is the other thing too. I mean, the movie comes out in May now. It was originally supposed to come out in March. We got to be getting some sort of teaser or some footage at some point.
Yeah, hell, it could be Kang.
I kind of want but yes, and that's the thing too. It's like I don't want to like get all these kind of villains. Like Thanos was. I mean, Kang is obviously the new Thanos. I think they're really setting him up to be that. So who knows? Mordo.
I wonder how far down the line is that? How long do we have to wait till we see them go up against Kang? Are they going to wait 10 years?
I don't know.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Very much so.
Who knows? But I just hope that I hope we see some footage soon. I hope we kind of get, because again, and it's directed by Sam Raimi. I would love to see I almost called him Damn Raimi. I would love to see what a Sam Raimi Doctor Strange movie looks and feels like. I can't wait. So
Bruce Campbell Ash.
Please. Let's switch it over now. To
Bruce Campbell is Dormammu.
Yes.
Switch it over now to the other side of the aisle, which is DC. Going into some DC territory. There are some new images, actually some new footage released of Gordon and the Batman.
Oh yeah,
fun times. Some sort of documentary or some sort of something came out. I wasn't able to find it, but I was able to find the clips on YouTube that basically talk about this particular Gordon. But it's a whole documentary about the James Gordon character and how he's evolved through the years. I don't know if that lives on HBO Max or where that lives. I'm assuming it's on HBO Max. I wasn't able to check it out. But you can find the footage at the segment of this on YouTube. But yeah, we just got Jim Gordon and Batman solving crimes together, which I know we've talked on this show before. It's something that we've hoped for this movie, and it seems like we're going to get it. So, especially this shot. This shot's in the middle. This shot's super cool. They're like walking through the whatever this is, this house or whatever, and they're like, they both got their flashlights and they're both walking through. It looks really cool.
That looks like the house from the trailers.
Which
that crime
oh yeah.
You
crime
know,
scene,
and the cops are standing around and he walks in. I think that's what those top two are from. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, true. Very exciting.
Regardless, they look really fucking good together. It looks like a comic panel to me, man.
I can't wait. We're getting closer and closer. It'll be here before you know it, guys.
This makes me wonder, as the GCPD show that I guess is still in the works for HBO Max.
I think it is.
Spin-off.
Yeah.
Is Jeffrey Wright gonna star in that? You know, is he gonna be the helm? That would be pretty cool. But yeah, that's just very interesting because talk about coming out of left field. That spin-off. You know, they say like, oh, by the way, to this band, we have a GCPD show. I'm like, okay, and then now there's a Penguin show. Colin Firth, not Colin Firth. Colin Farrell's Penguin.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, whoa, okay, like, all right, so it's gonna be interesting.
He'll obviously be on it. If you're new here, if you just joined us, please drop that like button, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We're talking about movies and movie news. We're having a fun time over here, talking and getting heated up about all the craziness that is coming down the pipeline. Yeah, man, Spider-Man's coming down the pipe. Be here before you know it. We're 6 weeks out from Spider-Man? That's crazy. Can't believe it.
I'm just gonna wait for the tickets to go on sale. Just keep refreshing.
Dude.
Hopefully I get some.
Dude, that's why I got the AMC app, bro. We're just boom. I'm booking them as soon as they're out. We're booking that. All three. You know what I'm saying? You get the 3 options to see 3 movies. Yeah. Boom, boom,
all
boom.
3 are gonna be Spider-Man.
Boom, boom, boom. The same week. The same day. Fuck it. Who knows? It's gonna be it's gonna pop up. It's gonna come up all the times for the day. I'll be like, doom, doom, doom.
You just don't leave the auditorium. You're just like, you just wait for the next one.
We're gonna start the review, and I'm gonna be like, all right, I've seen it 3 times today. Let's get into it. The 3rd time I took notes.
Oh man.
Oh, it's gonna be a crazy time. Our background here is Hawkeye. Did you guys see that little sneak peek trailer thingy that they had?
Yes, sir. Yes, I saw it
on Disney Plus. It was really cool. They did like basically a oneer, right? It was all one shot of them getting in
that chase.
Yeah,
they hot wire the car.
Yeah, that was really cool, man. I was excited.
That to me, that seemed like okay. I don't know about you guys, but I totally got like video game vibes from that oneer.
Oh yeah,
it felt like it was a video game.
See.
And like, but see, I'm saying that as a good thing because it's like it's something that like right out of like Uncharted or Cyberpunk or something where it's like you're first person in the car, right? And like your player character is like in the back seat and they're like, go, go, go. And they're driving off and you see them getting in the cars, they're driving, and then that moving truck cuts them off, and then it's like, what are they doing? And then the back comes up, and then you got I'm like, that's straight out of a video game. That is so cool. And then she comes up, and she gets out, it's like, I'm shooting, which arrow's which? I mean, that was good. I like that.
This is a suction cup arrow or whatever. See, I'm on the fence with it. Like, it's cool, but at the same, like, and it could totally just be me, and it probably is me, and I'm sure you guys too. But it's like, it kind of takes me out of the moment a little bit because I'm like, like it's like I get the gimmick, and then like when they keep spinning and they keep doing the thing, I'm like, oh, like now I'm just picturing a camera operator that's standing there, and then we're in the car, and like my brain, and then I started to dissect it because as we started to go around, I was like, oh, the side panels of that car and the roof, it's not there. Like they have a car that's chopped off. And like all the rest, like the roof of that whole thing when you're inside of it and the side panels, like that's all CG. And like the 3rd time we got around it, I could tell. And I was like, okay. And like as the shot went on, I think it might have been too long. I don't know. But it in my head, it just like it broke down, and I was like, wow, this seems kind of gimmicky, but I still enjoyed it, but I couldn't help but like literally dissect it as
you piece together how it was brought together.
Yeah.
You know? It's like you saw the different puzzle pieces. You're like, okay, I saw how this was brought together.
That kind of, yeah. I mean, that just happens to my brain, and I can't shut that off, unfortunately. But
do you find yourself doing that to like movies that are like really well done? Or is it just like, can that be hidden? Like, can that be hidden from you with great quality? Is that like something like saying like, or you're always going to spot it no matter how well done the movie is?
Well, so there's differences, right? So this one I could clearly see what was going on, and it was well executed. It wasn't terrible. Yeah. But then if we talk to something about like Dune, like I'm looking at that in more of amazement of like, holy crap. Like I know it's VFX, but like I'm more asking myself, oh man, how did specifically the effects in Dune? I'm like, all right, how did they pull this off? Where instead of being like, oh, I know how they did it in real time and I'm figuring it out, it's more of I'm asking a question and I'll go like figure it out later. Whereas this one, I'm like, oh, okay. And but a lot of Marvel stuff, you can watch and you can be like, oh, like this is, and it's kind of aggravating in the Spider-Man stuff because you watch like in the Sam Raimi versions, I think they did it very well. They blended the CG Spider-Man and the live action Spider-Man pretty well. I mean, if you can still spot it, but still, when I watch the Marvel Spider-Man, and I can tell when it's Tom Holland in the suit, and when it's not Tom Holland in the suit. Majority of the time, it's not him in the suit, and it's just a CG guy. Like 90% of the time, it takes me out of the movie all the time, but it's okay. And like, I don't know, like if we're going to go, this is the last thing I'm going to say about this, but the Mysterio sequence, which is super awesome. I love it. Where he's like battling Mysterio and he's seeing all the illusions. That's cool, but there's no real guy there. That's all, the whole thing is CG. Yeah. The whole thing is made in the computer. And I'm just like, I detach from it a little bit. Then I'm like, oh, like Tom's not actually there. And then my head, because we're filmmakers, we know how this is all done. I'm watching the sequence and I'm like, oh, now I'm picturing Tom Holland in a sound booth recording all these lines as I'm watching this. Like it breaks down totally in my head, and it's a little bit of a bummer. But usually the first time I watch the movie, I can kind of block that out, especially this No Way Home. You better believe it. I'm going to be all in it, and I'm not going to be thinking about how it's made at least the first time I see it. Better believe it. But anyways, that is my rant. Let's move on to the last topic here. Where did it go? There it is right here. Go. So, the final topic is Rogue Squadron, which was the Star Wars movie that was supposed to be directed by Patty Jenkins, was supposed to come out in 2023, I think. I'm pretty sure that's when it was supposed to come out. That got pushed back indefinitely, is what they stated. And I'm wondering, and I wanted to bring this up to you guys, specifically talking about Star Wars films. I feel like there is no plan. I feel like they're grasping at straws, and creative differences are happening. I mean, creative differences have plagued the Star Wars films, the Disney Star Wars films, from the get-go. They've lost directors left and right. People have dropped out due to creative differences. It seems like Favreau and Filoni have the streaming service and the television stuff on lockdown, but it just seems like the movies are just a crapshoot. What do you think? I don't know.
They should just give the movies to Favreau and Filoni. I mean, it's not at this point, I mean, this whole delay is basically, it gives them time to go back to the drawing board if they really want to, because they know Star Wars is a hot commodity. It has a huge fucking fan base. There's so much potential there still.
Yeah.
They know this, but they just don't know how to go about it. And that's why they're like, okay, let's postpone everything. Let's just leave everything where it is now, and let's just see if we can get something cohesive off the ground. And I think their best route is just to give it to Filoni and Favreau, man. Like, they're working magic on the streaming service. Just let them do it. If it means rewriting sequel trilogy, I mean, who's really going to complain? You know, it's
I'm
like
certainly not.
If it means everything's going to be cohesive in the end, fucking A, dude. Like, that's what I think, you know?
Because who actually, I mean, okay, I understand. I know out there are people who like the sequel trilogy, but I probably will never watch those movies ever again in my life. I'm just going to be straight up honest. I think they're garbage. And the reason why, you know, we know this is a fact. You can let us know in the I don't care, man. You can hate us in the comments. I don't give a shit. They had no plan. It's evident. It's documented. They had no plan. So
wasn't it even stated by JJ himself?
Yeah. He's like, oh, it would have been. He's like, yeah, we should have maybe had a plan. And I know Shannon's got some thoughts as well, but it's like, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I will never watch those movies again, and I'm totally cool with them just being like, all right, we're rebooting it. I will go straight from Return of the Jedi to Mandalorian season 1. I'm totally cool with doing that. That is kosher with me, man.
Agreed.
Well, that is it for today. Agreed.
No, I just, I mean, you guys know how I feel about it. I mean, the gross mishandling of a storied franchise. And it is unbelievable how grossly mismanaged it was. Now, Patty Jenkins being, this film being pushed back indefinitely, I agree that it is, to me, I think that's a good idea. Focus on what's working now.
Yeah.
Right. And then that also gives time because she's doing Wonder Woman 3, right? Because that was announced during Fandom.
Yeah, she wants to. Yeah, they're working on that now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
that was their excuse, or not the excuse. We don't know. Again, we don't know. But that was the thing. Yeah, the scheduling conflicts, which basically, I think she went to them and was like, I really want to make Wonder Woman 3. Can we push this back or whatever? And they were like, sure.
You read our minds.
Funny you should say that.
Well,
because it's like we were talking about, and it's the film Star Wars as film is, it's not working.
No,
and people, apologists, and other people can say that, oh well, the sequel trilogy made money. They didn't make as much money as they should have.
No,
I'm gonna keep saying that. They did not make enough the money that they should have. And that's it as far as that goes.
They lost money as each installment came out.
Yes.
That's not the trajectory that a Star Wars trilogy should have.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Like I remember when the apologists were coming out for The Last Jedi saying, oh, well, it still made 1 point something billion and blah, 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 but it made less money than Force Awakens. And then they would say, oh, well, not all, the sequels never make as much money as the first one. In Star Wars, the sequel should make more money than the first one.
Yes.
Because you should be getting more and more people excited to get to the theaters to spend more money on it. Right? Now, with Force Awakens, when Force Awakens came out, I can only speak for myself. When Force Awakens came out, I went to the theater 4 times to go watch it. 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Last Jedi, I went once.
Same.
Rise of Skywalker, I went 0 times.
Ooh,
Now think about that. As much money that I spent,
a lot of people did that too, I think.
Yeah, and the money I spent per ticket to go to The Force Awakens, and with the first showing of Force Awakens, I wasn't just paying for me; I was paying for my whole family. So it's like the money I spent per viewing for Force Awakens.
Hey, Alicia, how you doing?
And then the only one showing on The Last Jedi.
Yeah. And
then absolutely nothing. Now you take someone like me, and then you times that by, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000.
100,000, yeah. 200,000.
You are losing a lot of potential.
A lot of people.
Profit.
I remember sitting with The Last Jedi. I remember sitting there and just being like, Force Awakens, you're like, oh, cool, like Kylo Ren, like, oh, like it was a setup movie, and I was like, all right, sweet.
Yeah.
And I just remember sitting with The Last Jedi and just being like, this doesn't feel connected to what they set up. This feels like not like a Star Wars movie at all. And the whole time I'm looking around and I'm like, is this good? Like,
I'm sitting there. I'm like, they made Luke a chump.
Yeah.
They made Finn a chump.
Yes, they did.
They made Moon Knight a chump.
And some of the writing, bro, like he's up there and he's like, we don't have to go into a full review of these movies, I guess, but I guess whatever, we're slightly doing it. But yeah, he's like, oh, he does a knock joke or whatever, and he's like, oh, your mom called or whatever. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What on earth kind of dumb line is that?
And then they turned Hux into a buffoon. And I'm like, in Force Awakens, he wasn't a buffoon.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden he's just like this baffling Looney Tune, pretty much. And I didn't get that. I didn't like that.
It was a tragedy. Yeah, and that's one, if I could have if a movie god came down and said, all right, you get one wish. What's your one wish? I would be like, can we go back and get a second chance at let's put Favreau and Filoni in the spot in 2012, and that's not, that's what I would do. I'd be like, that's my one wish.
And there are existing there's existing IP out there that they could have adapted that would have been 100 times better than what they put out there.
Oh, of course.
And but they won't do it because it legitimizes the authors. And I'm talking about the legends, the Star Wars legends.
Mm-hmm.
There is a whole series on Luke's Academy, right? And there's a book where I think it's the first one where he first establishes his academy, and he establishes it on Yavin 4. And it's about him, like, he's basically learning himself to be a Jedi teacher, not just being the Jedi, but teaching all these other Force users to be Jedi. And it's like, okay, this is going to be something, and it's at Yavin 4, and then the bad guy is like, I don't want to spoil anything, but
right.
Like that is so cool that they reach all the way back, but that could have been great to see on screen, or even the Zahn novels, the Thrawn trilogy. That
right.
would have been great to see.
Which that could be the direction, a version of that could be the direction that the TV stuff is doing. Who knows? I don't know. I think maybe that's where we might be headed. But I lost my train of thought. You threw me off with the Thrawn stuff. I was like, oh yeah, Thrawn. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. You like, it's totally what it should have been. It's like the softest of softballs was thrown at Disney here, where it's like, all right, make the sequel trilogy. It's like, all right, there are just certain givens you're gonna, we're gonna get Luke with a new academy and be in and we're gonna get Han and Leia. Like, there are certain things that are just like home run ideas that they should have just ran with, instead of this like, well, we got to be different, we got to make our own version. It's like, no, we know what we want as fans, and not only that, but like, it's just these characters and this world. Like, it was already all set up. You knew exactly what a sequel trilogy needed to be. But oh well, I don't know.
I mean, it would have been cool to see like this Jedi Academy thing, and you see Ben Solo and this Rey character, grow up and learn together as students.
Yep.
And then see the shadowy figure start tempting Ben, right? And then you have like, and then the whole trilogy is about, would be Ben Solo's fall to the dark side,
right,
and the ultimate redemption. And then like episode, like the second movie in that trilogy could be the destruction of the Jedi Temple,
or the
Jedi Academy or something like that. It's like, oh my God, where do we go from here? and then the third movie of that trilogy could take place 6 years later, where now you've got, Luke and a couple of survivors and R2 and stuff like that, like, doing their thing, trying to hunt down, Snoke and all that. And then they find out about the First Order. I think that would have been cool. Everything that they didn't put into Force Awakens could have been,
Hey, what's going on, Mike? How you doing? Welcome to the show. We are talking about Star Wars. So if you love Star Wars, let us know. What did you feel about the sequel trilogy?
Let
us know. Just give us one word. Well, don't make it too adult, or they're gonna kick you out.
The one word challenge.
Or give us an emoji or whatever. But I don't know, man. I just think it was a sad time to go through them, but I'm glad we got the shows. I think Star Wars lives on Disney Plus, man. I think it lives on streaming. I think long form. I think that's the home for it now. I don't know if we're ever gonna, and it's the question I pose. It's like, will we ever see a great? I don't know. I don't even know if it's gonna be possible. Like a great Star Wars trilogy. Like, are we gonna get a solid trilogy that we all fall in love with again? I don't even know if it's possible.
It is possible. You have to write a trilogy, not a one-off story.
Right.
You have to write a trilogy with lovable, intriguing characters and a good plot. All right. I mean, you got to get
some Marvel writers on the project. Seriously.
Yeah. Or you get some Star Wars writers.
Exactly.
You get Timothy's on to be like, okay, you wrote the Thrawn trilogy 30 years ago. Let's see what you can do now.
Exactly. Or you know what? I mean, get Favreau involved. Favreau should be an executive producer and a major producer on the films moving forward. Just should be. I think him and Dave totally need to be. I think you need to bring back George Lucas in some form, whether it's a consulting role or something. You got to, because I heard there's rumors that George was involved with Boba Fett. So I
wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he was on the set when they were season 1 of Mando. So yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
And he shows up in there was a documentary about Boba Fett that's also on Disney Plus that I watched. It was only 20 minutes. But it's super quick. It's a super fun little behind the scenes look of the history of Boba Fett. And George Lucas is in that documentary. They're sitting, both him and Filoni are at Skywalker Ranch together. So they're like wearing Boba Fett merchandise or sweaters. So I think he had an involvement for sure, which is what you need. You need to bring, I mean, you can tell. You can obviously tell when George Lucas's touch is just not on a Star Wars property. You can tell. That's my opinion.
For sure. I agree, man.
But yeah.
Man.
With that being said, I think that'll be the end of the episode for tonight. Before we go, I do want to again, just to round out the show, we got our Spider-Man 2002 rewatch on the channel. That's where we all went out. We watched the movie. We came back. We sat down and we discussed it in depth. We broke it down. We gave our thoughts. We're fair. We critiqued it. You know what I'm saying? We weren't complete fanboys, but maybe
back to formula.
We got our Ghostbusters rewatch. So that's going to be the next rewatch we do. We're going to be recording that this week, and it'll be going online up on the channel on Friday. So you're not going to want to miss that. It's going to be a fun. I can't wait. It's going to be a fun time. I hadn't seen the movie in like 2 years, so it was great to revisit it. You're going to want to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss that upload. And the thing that I'm actually most looking forward to this week is the Harry Potter live watch along that I will be doing Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. You're probably thinking, Tyler, why are you doing this? Well, guys, it's the 20th anniversary, the 20-year anniversary since this movie came out. Little back. This is like my favorite movie of all times. It's what made me be a filmmaker. Like it's what got me into everything I'm into.
More than Spider-Man?
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna be sitting down. I'm gonna be watching the movie live. So join me 6 o'clock. It's gonna be a fun time. Grab yourself some dinner and put me on in the background or whatever. Hang out with me as we watch, or you watch me watch Harry Potter. I wish I could play the film, but Warner Brothers would shut us down if I actually play the movie. So, that's how it's going to be. But anyways, it's going to be a fun time. We got a lot coming this week. Obviously, we're going to have a show again on Thursday. The Rendered Image, which is the show you're watching now, happens Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's a fun time. Thank you to my co-hosts, Christian and Shannon, for always showing up. This is always it's a highlight of my week, man. This is the thing, that I get so excited for, and we got all the news coming out and Spider-Man, it's just going to be, the end of the year is going to be crazy wild. So I'm excited. Definitely, subscribe. We just passed 200 subscribers. That's super cool. Thank you guys so much. Christian's channel is also up there, To The Lens with an exclamation mark. He's got reviews dropping. He's just crossed 200 subscribers too. He's got like 218 or something like that. So we're growing, and I can't thank you guys enough. So thank you guys so much for the support.
Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra. Hail Hydra.
By the way,
Hail Hydra. And
this is what I think about Hydra right here.
Yes.
The call to action, man. Oh man.
Truth,
it's
justice,
too funny.
and America.
I wonder if, Christian, are you going to get new flags at some time, or is it just?
I plan to get, maybe not Marvel oriented, but like, I might switch it up a bit. But yeah,
he's like, I'm Hydra all day, every day.
Yeah, this flag is never coming down. It might not be in the background, but it's gonna be somewhere still up.
He's gotta get like this Baron Zemo poster or something. Portrait in the background.
Oh man, I pray to it every night.
Hail Zemo.
Still a little fist pumping dance he did in fucking Winter Soldier.
Oh man,
are we still live? No.
We are. Yeah, we're still live. No, I collapsed the window and I wasn't able to get the end screen up. So yeah, we're still going.
We're still going. I just like confessed my love for Baron Zemo and Hydra live on. Wow. Okay, I'm not a.
Oh, great.
Never mind.
So we
she get like a screensaver of Emil Zola.
Oh yes. Exactly. All right. Well, thank you guys for showing up so much. We will see you on Thursday, and we'll see you in other uploads and everything like that. Have a great start to your week tomorrow, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Nah, I shall